So good evening, everyone. This is the accounts meeting, and this is Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, and it's 5:32 p.m. So I'm just going to read the statement, which says that out of respect for public health and in response to the governor's declared state of emergency, this meeting will be closed to the public, and interested parties can instead access the deliberations via live stream over at the YouTube channel at the Brockton Channels live. And we're ready to start. So item 1, I guess.
Well, this is just to review. If anybody has any questions on the accounts payable warrants, P21-069 or P21-080.
So maybe we should start with the 069 first and keep it organized, and then we'll have to the next warrant section. Sure. So now, because it's not paginated, so it's going to be hard for us to know. And I'll let Councilor Castro go first because I know she had some questions and she's going to be leaving early, so I promise that she'll be able to go first.
Okay. On page 5 of warrant P21-069, most of the way down the page is Comtrack Corp. About $52,500. It says it's for equipment. It looks like it's 121, which is mayor's. I just wondered what it was for. So let's make that one. And it also said that I thought it was interesting. It said invoiced year to date was $72,424, and year to date paid was $52,000. The amount of this check.
Yeah, well, different departments can use the same vendor. So that's just a total that we've paid out to that vendor so far. But that is for the fiber optic iNet replacement through the IT department. We've been working on that for a couple of years now, replacing all the fiber optics.
So it's the fiber optic, what, Emery?
iNet, I-N-E-T, replacement project.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then on page 6, in the middle of the page, Kutumas Paul F. It's listed, the description is just other contract services.
Yes, this is the, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay. It's $3,800, but year-to-date invoiced was $260,000.
Yes, he is the golf pro that runs the golf course at DW. So he's under contract. So his rate depends on how much they take in at the golf course. It's a percentage of the sales.
Okay. I didn't know that was his name.
Yes.
Okay. And then on page 7, the vendor is Eastern Insurance LLC. It's listed as a PO for, I think, the law department. The amount is $20,628, but the year-to-date invoice was $1.3 million.
Yes, so that's, they handle all the different types of insurances that we have for the city. This one was in particular was the one that we were paying was for the vehicles. And so we get like our statement like anybody would on their vehicle for the insurance for the cost of the year. And then they come out once a year, like halfway between the year, I think it is. And they do like an audit to make sure that we still have all the vehicles that were listed at the beginning of the year. They do the adjustments if we bought in a new vehicle or we have no longer using a vehicle. So they take it off the insurance.
Okay. So was I right that the PO listed law?
Yes, it's through the law department. They handle the insurances for the city.
Okay. And then on page 10, most of the way down, LaSalle University is listed as the vendor. The account description is achievement and acknowledgement, $200.
That is a scholarship payment and it was a lost check. So we voided the original and replaced it.
So why would we be giving out a scholarship check?
We have, the city has a lot of trust funds and people have left money to the city for different types of scholarships. And that's one of our trust funds that gives out scholarships. And it just happened to be the person that got the scholarship is going to the LaSalle University. So that's where we sent the payment.
Okay, that all makes sense. And then on page 15, down at the bottom, the vendor is opportunity space. It's other contract services is the description. This check was 22,500. Year to date is 45,000.
So that is through public property, but it actually, the contract is through the mayor's office. Get down. And so I called and asked about that one. And it's a system that connects the different departments with the different permits that they have.
Oh, it's that system.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So they're just trying to get all the different departments to be able to go to one location. So we're trying to tie them all in.
It's for a
Code
system of
enforcement
permitting.
and permits, yeah.
It's a great idea. Okay. And then I had,
Does anybody else have any questions on that warrant? 069?
No,
Okay,
yeah, that's it on that warrant for
okay.
me.
not to interrupt, but who's with us tonight anyway? Just three of us?
Nope.
Now, four, we have Councilor Thompson, Nicasio, Rita, and you. So four of us. Just Councilor Monahan that is not with us tonight.
He wrote back and said he was working.
Oh, okay.
Who's Rita? Oh,
I'll introduce you to her at some point.
nothing here.
Do we move on to the AP warrant 080?
I'm ready to. I don't have anything.
Councilor Nicastro?
I just had one item. I didn't get through this entire one. On hang on page 4. And I was just wondering about this. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Massachusetts is the vendor health insurance. It's for $3.1 million. And it said the year-to-date invoice was $23 million. And I was just wondering, why would it be that the year-to-date invoice was so much more than the year-to-date paid? And I wondered,
Oh, so that's just a tally. It could have been that one ran over the fiscal year, but what is the calculator?
well, the fiscal year runs to June 30th, right?
Yes.
So the year-to-date paid is only 3.1 million. Wouldn't it have been a lot more?
So I'm not sure why that's off, but it's not what we were invoiced because our invoice is a monthly. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure where that invoice number comes. Usually it is the same. So there might be one that's encumbered and it's in the process of being paid. So it hasn't gone through the full system yet and it could be hanging out there and waiting to be calculated as paid.
It wouldn't be that it's calendar year though, right? We're all fiscal
No.
year.
Fiscal year.
Okay.
Yeah, because we pay like, plus this is so tiny. It's usually around 3.2 million a month, and every once in a while we'll have like a small bill that needs to be paid. If somebody joined or we refunded it, it goes up and down a little bit.
Okay. If you would look and just let me know what you see.
Yes, I'll look into it for you in more in
Thanks,
depth.
Anna.
I did a spreadsheet on, I wasn't sure what your question was referring to. So
Yeah, I might not
pulled-
be sure what my question is either.
So I pulled last year's and compared it to what we've paid so far this year, and we're in the same ballpark. So,
Okay.
so I will look into that. It's probably refunds that are going out.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me so far, Rita.
Yes, thank you so much. I have a question in regards to the veterans cash benefits on this. There's so many of them. Is like a program or something that the city runs that they qualify for?
Which one? What are you looking at, Rita?
So they're all over. So it's on page 6. There's more. So it's cash. It just says veterans cash benefits, and there's for different.
Oh, those
Is
are
that-
for the veterans that need help. They qualify for help assistance from the city, and then we send them a check once a month. So they have to apply.
And is that a grant that the city receives in order to be able to run this program?
It's paid out of the general fund, but we do get some assistance from the state on the veterans.
Good, good, very good. Also, the other question that I have, the money that we've been receiving for the CARES Act money, is that also going in through the city? So we have, does it shows on this, or is that a separate way of really, am I making sense? Is that going through a separate means, or do we also get to see it on these? How do we keep track of them?
So what, for fiscal 20, it's in a separate fund. It's not in the general fund. It does get paid out on a warrant, but it's going through the general fund right now. Once we get the approval that the expense that we have, the money we have expended, we submit it for reimbursement to the Plymouth County CARES Commission, and then they tell us whether or not it's a reimbursable expense. So once we get that check in, then we go back and we do a journal entry, and then we take those expenses, move it to the CARES fund, and then we credit back the general fund.
At some point, we'll be able to see it under, in this meeting, under these warrants, or we're gonna have to request?
It's mixed up in the general fund, so you would have to request to see the expenses that have been paid for the through the CARES Act, but those are the ones that we would have had. Once we've got reimbursed, then we transfer the expense into the CARES Act. The finance office is keeping track of all that right now.
Thank you.
We
Yeah.
haven't gotten a lot of reimbursements back yet. We're still waiting.
We got the $8 million check, right? No? 8.8 million, they think they said.
No, we got 805,000 just a little while ago.
Last week, yes.
Yeah.
that.
And the school department got reimbursed 7 million. So that shows under the CARES Act, but it was paid out of the general fund until we got the check in. And then once we got the check in and we got the full approval, then we transferred those expenses over to the CARES Fund Act.
Because think about it, it's a reimbursement program.
Mhm.
So we front the money, we pay for the bills, and that's what we see, us paying for the bills. And then we apply to be reimbursed for it.
We're still waiting for reimbursement requests we sent in September.
Wow.
So we haven't, it's very slow because they're going through a three level of audit down in Plymouth County. So it takes a little while to get back to us. But so this is the way we decided because we weren't sure if everything would be reimbursed. So it's easier to keep it in the general fund and then move the expenses that are accepted in reimbursed and then move it into the CARES Act.
Councilor Thompson.
Thank you, Rita. So, Emery, I'm looking at 080, page 12. The first designation of Dr. Herman, it looked like. So I see that we have a year-to-date paid of $84,000. So we're halfway through the fiscal year. Am I to assume his pay is $160,000?
I can't answer that because I don't know how long he'll be, have a contract with us through the mayor's office. I guess until they decide they don't need his services anymore.
So but just generally, he's being paid $3,500 a week?
Yes,
All right. Is that reimbursable through our CARES Act funding? Do you know?
we have put it in for reimbursement, yes.
Yeah,
All right.
it falls within the definition because it's an unanticipated, unbudgeted expense that arose from COVID.
Yeah, no, I agree. There should be money refunded. So I'm just wondering what his income is from the city on the matter. So I guess I'd like to move on to page 24. I'm looking at 3344, the David Russell Funeral Home expense. That's for $9,999, and it looks like it's being paid out of court settlements. Now, is this I know this was an issue earlier under the Rodriguez administration. So is it some sort of, is that properly defined as some out of court settlement, or how do we address that?
That was the agreement that we made with the funeral home, that we would pay them that amount. So it went through the law office and it was agreed upon.
Okay.
And which funeral, excuse me, Jeff, which funeral is this one for?
The last one, it should be, I think it wasn't, we discussed this at one other meeting prior, remember?
Yes,
Right.
the lady, yes.
It was why we asked, someone else probably would have put an 89.99, not 99999, and that's what led it to be the PR situation that we had. So I think it was that last one. I'm just not sure of the name though, Councilor Thompson. But
yeah, there were two. I think one already made it through the system, and it was the second one that was caught. And so I'm understanding that this is the settlement of that second matter. I see that we have a year to date of $13,999. So an additional, what's that, $3,000? Do we know, Emery?
But that could be for veterans. The veterans, we also can pay for their funerals. We have a cap of, I think it's $4,000 now, that we can help out a veteran to pay for their services.
Okay, so that's for a wake funeral plot. All those?
I don't know if it's a plot or what, but we can give them up to $4,000 to help out with the funeral costs.
Now that's per individual, or that's our city cap for all veterans?
No, that's I believe it's state. It's $4,000 a year.
Oh, okay.
I can double check with Dave Farrell, but I'm pretty sure it's a state amount that we don't pick it. I think it's the state.
So we get reimbursed from the state for any funeral costs for veterans?
Well, we get an amount each year that goes to the veterans benefits. I'm not sure if it covers the whole amount of what we pay out, but there's a formula that Dave uses that is by state.
Okay. Do you know, would you happen to know on average what we pay for a funeral for a veteran?
We can give them up to $4,000 depending on their need.
So, yeah, I just want to confirm. So the $4,000, that's individually per veteran, or is that
per veteran? I'm sorry. Yes.
All right. That's really all I have at this point. Thank you.
We have Counselor Azak too, if she has any questions. I emailed her the warrant, so she's finally able to log in.
Thank you, Counselor Mendez.
So are there more questions on the warrants?
I mean, I just finished looking through it. I have no further questions.
No further questions too. So if no one else has any further questions, I guess then we're ending.
Well, I'm all set, Madam Chair, at this point.
Do you want to set a date now for our next meeting?
Yes.
Counselor Mendez?
I was trying to do the second finance meeting night at 5:30 of every month. Maybe that will give us a way to kind of keep track and to expect and plan ahead. So maybe
Okay.
that would be it, if we can just plan the second finance night at 5:30.
So that looks like it's going to be March 15th.
15th, yeah.
Okay, so then going forward, we'll try to just do it the second finance night, and hopefully we'll be able to at some point do it in person. Which is much
I
more.
hope so.
Do we need a motion to adjourn, or we're just ending this?
I'll make it. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. So it's
Need-
March, what's the
All
date
in
again?
favor.
Sorry, what was the question?
March, what's the date again? I'm sorry.
15th.
15th.
At
Yes.
5:30.
Okay, yep. 5:30. Okay.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Good night.